Got right to it. No intros, no special effects. We're just gonna show us kicking out. We've already obviously put the tube together. We're gonna go with waders today. This water's a little colder than I would want it if I was just going straight shorts. Not like Silverwood Lake, huh? But it's not too bad. It's got like a cool feel to it, but it's really not bad. We're gonna kick out. We're over here. Obviously, you see by the title, we're at Lake Mamie. We're gonna throw a little bit of everything. I got jigs aboard. We got a lot of Thomas's, some bait. Checking out the different channels over here. Pretty, about 8 feet right where I'm at. So if you can see where we kicked out from, not too bad right here. All right, we'll check back when we get into a little spot. All right, we are in a much better spot. Kicked pretty much to the other side. Starting to see a few smaller fish in the shallows to my right, but that's a good thing because here they just kind of hang together. The small ones will follow the big ones around, so we don't mind casting where we see small ones, but we're gonna keep kicking until we get to the other side, and then we'll work our way back to the car as we, you know, try for fish and see what's going on. But typically, you know, unless they just planted over there where the parking lot is, fish pretty much jet to the, I guess it'd be the south side of the lake. We're not running bait or anything yet. We're gonna hold off on that until we kind of get to where we want to hang around, and then we'll see what we can do. Alright, I'm gonna try this pool back here. Try casting into some of these coves and different spots. I do see fish activity back here. I don't think it'll be long before we hook up. Nothing on that one. Let's keep casting. To update, it looks like we might be headed to Lake Mary. Too close not to just hop on over there and try that out. I don't really see a whole lot of activity here at Lake Mamie. A couple of fish, small ones, surfacing every now and then, but oh, there was a little bump right there. But nothing, you know, not a lot of activity. And I'm watching 10 other float tubers out here and they're not catching anything. So it's worth you know, a good fish on the way back toward the car, and if nothing, we're gonna throw the tube on the hood drive about a block or two and dump it in on Lake Mary and give that a go. But yeah, I'm just not seeing anyone catch anything here. A couple of smaller fish surfacing here and there, but nothing biting worth talking about, you know what I mean? So we're gonna cast our way around, back and forth, left and right. If you're ever on a tube, that's one of the things you definitely want to do, is make sure you're spraying your, you know, ooh, that was a little bump right there. Make sure you're spraying your cast. Don't just keep throwing in one direction. Give it a couple of different angles. You never know. Well, whatever bumped it again didn't hook up, so let's try one more pass. At it. Yes, it does. That's where I'm going right now. Still no action, guys. I'm throwing Thomas Cyclone now and nothing. Some pretty good looking shore spots along this west side of the lake, in case you were interested. I'm gonna definitely talk about this on both Patreon and the YouTube channel real soon, the shore opportunities here. All right, we'll keep at it. That's gonna be a wrap from Lake Mamie. There are just very little fish here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 7 float tubes, not including myself, and no action. Like nothing. No one's getting anything. I saw jigs, flies. I'm throwing spoons. I mean, there's nothing. Very cleaned out. So we're gonna throw the tube on the hood and head over to Lake Mary and hope that that bigger lake might offer some kind of action. Lake George is probably a hot mess. They got a lot of hikers out of that area, so there's nowhere to park usually by this time. But there's some decent parking just right over here for Lake Mary, so I'm just gonna do that and throw the tube on and see what we get over there. All right, we'll check right on back. We are now on Lake Mary. Hopefully we'll find a bite here, because if not, then we're gonna have to really brainstorm on where we can go for the rest of the day. But there's some decent drop off on this shore over here. I'm actually quite surprised. I'm on the north shore, launching from the north shore. Car's just right up there on the road. Looks like the wind's gonna be up. I just gotta get into that deeper area on the other side. I would have parked over there, but it looks pretty full. So we're just gonna see if we can get into some fish right here on the side. Tighten the hat, man. Pretty gusty out. As long as you can get into deeper water. Usually they don't like getting on the surface when it's that windy. But they'll chase the spoon some deep water, which right now there's definitely deeper water right below me. Lake Mary is pretty deep. It looks like it has some good depth to it, which to me makes me a little more confident about getting a couple of fish here, because over there at Mamie, I mean, if they just stocked it, man, you're gonna do well. So its timing is everything for Lake Mamie. Just be prepared. You know, like I had to throw the tube on the hood of the car. It's just like a quarter-mile drive between lakes. But if you have a truck, you're in business, man, because you can switch up lakes really fast. But I might switch to a bigger spoon right now. I think I'm going to throw a bigger buoyant out here, get a little more flash. I don't know if I like this cyclone and this bigger water. So let me switch up lures and we'll get back to it. Rod out. We're fishing with a bubble. If you're not familiar with the bubble method or water bobber, they call it a lot of things, water bubble. We're going to show you how to do that and what the point of it is. We're going to do a video on that specifically for all you new fishermen out there, so stay tuned for that. We've not really been putting in much work yet. I'm really trying to get to this other side. It's a big lake, deceivingly big lake. It's gonna be pretty sucky to kick back, but I gotta fish hard today. It's 10:30. We're gonna give this a solid 2 to 3 hours and see if we can't find a way out here. I have a feeling there's a good bite somewhere on this lake, and we're just gonna have to figure out where, if they're really deep or if they're on a drop off somewhere, or maybe south shore, west shore. But we're gonna kick around a little bit. We're dodging boats and stuff out here. We gotta watch out. They got rental boat tourists out here and man, we saw a guy yesterday almost dumped his motor in the lake, put it in reverse, and gunned it, and the motor was coming out of the water. Man, that was really close. But anyway, we're looking for some big fish. You never know. And this is one of those lakes where they stock it big, and there's some holdovers in here. So we'll see. We got really bright chartreuse glitter garlic gulp egg out with garlic spray. So it's a mouthful out there, and we're hoping the fish will get fooled by it. But yeah, we're gonna try this, and we're gonna kick would be kind of like west on the lake, and then that way if the wind picks up, we just got to kick north, and then it'll take us right back to our car. So should be good times. But I wonder how deep this lake is. I have a strong feeling if I drop my 50-foot anchor right now that it would not hit bottom. The water out here in the middle is super calm, even though it's been windy, and that usually is an indicator of very deep water. So I'm not doubting there are fish out here, but typically trout won't, even in the best of lakes, trout like rainbow trout and all that, especially stocked fish, typically won't hang out in 80 feet of water, 100 feet of water. It's very unusual. There's just not much light down there, and they're not a fan of that. Lake trout, on the other hand, will do that. They'll go down really deep. And even some brook trout are known to hang around pretty deep, but bows and stuff, not so much. They'll suspend over deep water, so they'll be 20 feet down, 15 feet down in a 100-foot pool. And that's why I'm just kicking slowly with that bubble, which is set up to sink very slow. And just every now and then I give it a little paddle, and that raises it back up into where I think they might be. It's kind of a type of trolling that you can do from a float tube. It's really cool and super effective on a lot of lakes. I've had a lot of luck with this exact setup at Silverwood, catching trout there. So I don't see why it wouldn't do pretty well here, but I just need to get over the fish in the first place, which is the struggle. So we'll see. We'll see if we can get that rod to just dive, man. That's what we want. Won't see if we can get it to go. My brother's out, he's still on the trip. He's out riding his dirt bike somewhere on the north side of Mammoth. So he's having a good time over there. We're probably gonna meet back up here and this afternoon and do some fishing or something somewhere. And then later on, we're gonna have to find a campsite. All the regular campgrounds are definitely full, especially on a Friday, which today is. There's just no way. So we're gonna have to do dispersed camping somewhere, and that's not a big deal. They're not allowing fires. If you saw my other video with the campground, they're not allowing any fires. So it's pretty much down to just stoves, and then even then you got to have, if you're going to do gas stoves, you have to have this permit, which you go online and get it for free. So we have that permit, so we'll at least have the stove to cook some food and all that. No hits as I go across the deep end. I'm finally approaching the south side, which is what I wanted. I wanted to come over on this side and kind of kick around about 100 feet to 200 feet offshore and see if we can find some fish over here. You never know. Well guys, I have worked my way down about half of the north shore, or south shore, I'm sorry, and no hits. Nothing. Dead quiet out here. So there's got to be fish at this lake somewhere though. This is a big deep lake, so we just have to maybe try a little bit harder, work for it. I mean, if we end up with a skunk between those two lakes, then so be it. It is what it is. We got blown off a silver, couldn't even fish it. Very similar conditions at Little Virginia. We went to Little Virginia and Big Virginia. Same problem, heavy winds, and what little time I spent there, it was pretty slow. So I don't know. It looks like the damage has been done, guys, by the lack of planted fish. I think things were hanging in there for a little while, maybe a month ago, when they were still planting, and then now that it's just a few private stocks here and there, that just you can't keep up. If you're not here within a day or two of that plant, the private plants, man, you're just gonna be getting nothing. So if you come up and it's not good, it's not you. I'm not sure what to recommend yet, but I will make some video recommendations pretty soon, and then you guys can kind of act accordingly, however you want to take that advice. But we'll see. Maybe we'll still get into a bite here, but we got we're about halfway done fishing this lake. It's 11 o'clock. I'll probably call it quits here about 12 to 1 and head off to try another one, try a different lake. So all right, we'll check back if something changes. All right, we are headed back toward the car. We're gonna retire from this lake. Man, brutal for Mamie and Mary. Yesterday, it was kind of it didn't work out yesterday at all. Yesterday, the plan coming up, so right after the live chat, the plan was to go to Silver Lake and fish it, and then just stay there until dark and go find a campground. Well, Silver Lake was blown out. I mean, the winds, it's not as bad here in Mammoth, but it's like gusty every now and then. But at Silver Lake, man, it was ripping, and it just wasn't that fishable. It was terrible. And we're hooked on the bottom, I think, right now. I don't know. Could be a weed. I don't have any fight back yet. It's weird. Well, maybe it is a fish. If it is, it was way down there because I was casting deep. That was a live hook set if this is a fish. Nope. Just a tangle. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So let's get this back out there. There we go. So basically yesterday was a bust because we went to Silver and it was just too windy. And then we could have, you know, driven to Bridgeport, but we had to go, it was already late and we had to find a campground and there was nowhere to camp. All the dispersed was kind of RV'd out, and so we went up into Virginia Lakes Basin, hoping to find campground there. Trumbull was full, and then I found out why, because even the dispersed sites with fire rings are not allowed to have fires. So everybody went to Trumbull, and then by the time we were done with that, we went up to Virginia, Big Virginia, and had the same problem, just high winds, and it wasn't worth it. So we figured, all right, well, we're going to Mammoth tomorrow, and here we are. And it's pretty bad. It's not good. So I'm not sure what to do. Did I just get my own bait rod? I think I did. That's really hard to do with that kind of depth. Let me fix this, I'll come back.